Welcome everybody for Tuesday live training. Today's topic is walking the talk to help assist others. Walking the talk to help assist others. This is really important right now for things that we have been going through. As you can see, my eyes are a little heavy right now. A lot of people are going through a lot of stuff, especially in the past 3 days. It feels like a lot of us have really hit this brick wall. It feels like we're really shooken right now. It feels like the hardest things are landing on us, what it feels like again. And we've been going through ups and downs as we continue this, crazy year, the past few months. And then the last 3 days, we're going to be talking about this, of how we hit that brick wall. We're also going to be really diving into, and this all goes together with walking the talk to help assist others. Walking the talk to help assist others. So again, welcome everybody for the Tuesday live training. I'm really excited to talk about this and talk about everything that is occurring for many people right now, which is exactly why in the Lightworkers and Healers I posted a group check-in, basically saying the last few days, and this is happening on the collective consciousness, the last few days, a lot of people have been feeling like they got hit with a ton of bricks. Who experienced this? What is your experience? And I got so much feedback in that post of people going through some really hard times with emotions, really hard times with what's coming up. So hi everybody. Hi Sam. Hi Allie. Hi Dami. Hello. Thank you so much for joining everybody. Again, if you have questions with anything that we are talking about, I am looking at the comments. Feel free to comment. I will answer anything that I see and that I'm able to answer depending on the time. If I do miss it, I'll come back and write a response in the comments themselves. So feel free to comment down below. And again, I'm really excited that y'all are all here because we are going through some tough times, and I'm really excited to be able to talk to you about this and what we are going through So again, welcome everybody. Welcome Brittany. Again, thank you guys for coming. So the topics for tonight, what we're going to be talking about, besides, how we've all got hit, what feels like got hit with a brick wall the past few days, or however long it's been for you. We're going to be talking about, number one is acting versus being in your truth. Acting versus being in your truth. So we're going to talk about that. Second thing we're going to talk about is the side of your self to show to people. The sides of yourself to show to people, because what we tend to do is we tend to guard ourselves. We tend to not show our true selves to other people, especially as light workers and healers. As we're assisting other people, we tend to hold that back and not really show that. We tend to have a wall up. So it's like, it's okay if I work with you and you're showing me that vulnerability, but we feel like we have to be, if we're assisting somebody else or just being there for somebody else, we feel like we have to be that rock, when in fact being that rock doesn't mean putting up a wall around yourself. And this is really pertinent for what we're going through right now, and I'll talk about that. The third thing that we're going to be going through tonight is our mistakes as leaders and healers. Our mistakes as leaders and healers. What do I mean by this? For people who are assisting other people, what we may do, thinking that we need to do, and things that we've been trained to do, and how to act, and just a good look into that to see, what is not actually serving us and actually not helping the other person and the other people that we're assisting with helping. So again, hello everybody. Let me know that you're excited for tonight, or just pressing play because you're trying to get through these past few days, and trying to understand everything that seems to be falling on you and falling into your lap, things that have been happening around you that has just been really earth-shattering to you, things that are happening within you, because everything is a mirror image, teaching us, showing us So even if you're just trying to get through these past 3 days and are just holding on, and give me a like, let me know that you're here, because we're here to support each other. I've talked about this before. This group has really become a community, and is really starting to become a community even more. And that's why we are here, to help assist, other people, be there for people, let people know what we're going through, let people see our vulnerability. Let people see our vulnerability. And that's what we're going to be talking about for tonight. So again, guys, thank you. I may not be in the peppiest mood either, and it's because I do not want to put on a face that is a mask in a sense that I'm putting on a happy face to make myself appear that I'm happy right now. But in fact, I'm also going through some family things. I may talk about this, I may not, depends if it comes up. And see, with that being said, this is what I'm teaching tonight. It's not about putting on that happy face and trudging along. It's about being who you are and how you feel. And we're going to talk about also taking on, so me being vulnerable right now, me showing you I'm not okay right now, is what we do is we tend to put up a wall because we don't want others to take on, as light workers, maybe on a conscious level, or an unconscious level. We may not want others to take on what we're going through, so then we hide ourselves of what we're going through. But that's not healing for us. That's not healing for the other person. Why? Because our actions show so much. And so I'm coming here tonight, and I'll explain a little bit with that. And the thing is, guys, we're all going through our own stuff. There's no comparison. I know some major issues with some of my clients, some of my friends. My mom went to the hospital today for a stroke, and she's doing tests right now, so she's in the hospital right now. So a lot of us are going through some really hard times, and it's not to hide that anymore. And it's not to say, oh wait, which one is worse? I can't feel my stuff because you're in pain. We can be in pain together. That's what community is. It's not taken away. It's not taken away, but there's also some listening involved. So I know I talked just a lot about the summary, so let's actually get into the nitty-gritty of tonight. Okay, let's actually get into the nitty-gritty of tonight. Now, this, again, with the energy that I'm bringing here, the energy that a lot of people are going through, because each person is going through some really tough times. Remember to not take on other people's energies, okay? So if you're in a good mood and you're feeling great because you've worked through some stuff, stay in that energy. I'm not asking you to get on my level, because that's not serving you and that's not serving me. Stay in the energy of, feeling good. And we're going to talk about that tonight. And thanks, guys, so much. And I'm sending out love to each of you. I've talked to a lot of you, and I know a lot of you are going through some really hard times. And it's not comparable. We can't compare to other people. We can't compare to other people. So I truly appreciate it, and I'm sending that love back to you. Sending out that love back to you. All right, let's begin with acting versus being in your truth. Acting versus being in your truth. We talk about all the time of being who we are, being in our truths, being our true selves. But there's so many times we get into acting. And I, for one, am not good at this. I've acted for so long thinking that's what I was supposed to do. What do I mean by this? Right now, in the state of what we're going through, normally people would say, oh, put on a smile and give them what they need. That's the thing, guys. It's no more about acting. If you're feeling shitty, if you're feeling just rough, it's okay. It's okay to feel that way. And it's okay to be in the presence other people feeling that way. He's okay with that. So with that being said, feel how you feel. If you feel good, feel that. You deserve it. You deserve it. So when I say acting versus being in our truth, what do I mean by that? It's to truly be ourselves, truly dive into, what we are truly feeling. And this is what we're learning. So the last few Tuesday Live trainings, I've talked about really, staying in your power, really diving into your emotions. Really diving into your emotions. This is that time. It's still that time. We're still learning on that. And so what happens is, especially as, leaders, especially as healers, especially as helping friends out, helping people we love out, we tend to try to, again, not show them that we're vulnerable, not show them that we're hurt. So here's an example. If I'm, trying to show everybody in this Lightworkers and Healers group, and I'm trying to show everybody in the Lightworkers Acceleration Program that I'm always a strong person, that you don't see me vulnerable, and I've talked about vulnerability too. Well, then what does that give you the impression of? That you have to be like that. And yet what I'm telling you to do is to become vulnerable, to be who you are. So if my words are saying, hey, you can step into your vulnerability, you can step into that pain, you can feel comfortable around who you feel comfortable with and express yourself and be who you are. And yet I'm standing there every time you see me being strong and, not showing those emotions. Am I really truly stepping and walking the walk? Am I really walking, the talk? Am I really taking steps in those places? So the reason why I'm saying this is because this is something for us to know as we're helping and assisting other people. There's so many people, especially Lightworkers and Healers tribe, that we feel, and it feels good for us to assist other people. So we need to be who we are, even in those, rough moments. So here's an example. Say you have a meeting with someone and your heart just doesn't feel into it. You need that space. We talked about taking that space, giving yourself that love. But if your heart is saying, no, go do it. For example, me being on tonight, if my heart is saying, jump on this training and do it, then I'm going to do it because my heart is saying to. But I'm going to show you who I am. So if you're meeting somebody and you feel to, don't try to suck it up. Don't try to, put your strong face on, put that, oh, I'm good. Hey, everybody. How's everybody doing? Be who you are. Be who you are. This is really important. And I'm saying this because this is what we're learning on a collective consciousness. One aspect to it. This is what we're learning. And another thing, what I talked about is when we, as Lightworkers and Healers, when we, really show our vulnerability, we're scared that other people, or we show our pain, or we show our sadness. We're scared that other people are going to take it on. You notice that when we all do this, guys, we all do this, okay? Notice that when we hear something rough from somebody else, we may immediately shift to not just compassion, like, I'm so sorry, I'm here for you, but we go into the state of sadness. Have you noticed that? It's almost like in that moment, we feel like we have to feel sad because the other person feels sad. Or we feel sad because we feel the other person's sadness and we take it on. We take it on. So this is showing us in this time, and I'm going to talk about, what's happening on the collective consciousness, all of that. I didn't really prepare for today. A lot has happened. So I'm really going by what comes up with spirit. So I'm really going to be going into, what comes up. But a few things that I wanted to get out first was just being our true selves. When we are with somebody else and we put on that fake face, we're doing a disservice not only to ourselves, we're doing a disservice to them, for them. But a lot of us don't know that. We've learned we gotta push through, step it up. So let's talk about vulnerability. Let's talk about what happens when we do allow ourselves to be vulnerable, allow ourselves to be hurting or in pain with someone else. When we do that, and I was just having a conversation with my friend Kim, and we helped each other out with this, Kim with Karma Holistics. When other people are going through things, and we, especially as light workers and healers, feel that we have to turn ourselves off to be there for them, we're actually doing ourselves a disservice. Here's why. Whenever we feel and receive, because everything is a mirror image. So and sometimes it's harder to see, but as we continue growing and going into, ourselves, literally following our hearts and getting to know ourselves, we realize that everything is a mirror image in some way. So we heal when other people heal. We heal when other people heal. When we allow ourselves to accept that healing, then we're both growing. So for example, and this is one type of example, I'll give you another. I had a friend staying with me. She was going through a lot. So in the past, what I would do is make it all about the other person. And I'm talking about friends right now. I'm not talking about clients or other people. So I'll get to that example. But I had a friend here and she was going through stuff. So when she had her moments, I listened. I was attentive. I felt. I assisted her in those moments. But then, whenever I was going through stuff, she did the same for me. And when we were both going through stuff, at that moment, we allowed ourselves to both grow through it. It wasn't about, no, this is me time. It wasn't about, no, this is you time. And it was me getting out of my head to say, I do have something to go through too. Because I'm also learning, I'm also growing, and I'm also human. Just because I do this for my profession doesn't mean I have to be different from everybody else and suck it up or not be me. Okay, again, this is a friendship. So we were able to be there for each other. But what we tend to do is that we tend to give too much sometimes. We've talked about this, about giving too much. When we, especially light workers, healers, people who want to assist other people, we tend to fill other people's cup for our own. We've talked about that. That's why it's learning how to fill our own cups. So for an example, I was on the phone with, and this was a little while ago, on a phone with one of my friends, and we help each other back and forth. And I called her bawling, crying, and you know what she said to me? She said, because I was expecting, so she does energy work also, so I was seeing if there was something that she can assist me with, and she told me, I would love to assist you. I'm going through my own things too. I can't give you information, but I can be here for you. So she allowed herself to not worry that she couldn't give me spiritual information. And I allowed for her to be in where she is and be okay with where she is. Because of that, it's exactly what I needed. Because of that, it was exactly what she needed. So on some energetic level, we assisted each other, yet it wasn't in the way you may expect. Okay, again, I'm talking about friendships. I'll go into, clients or people maybe that are asking for your help and maybe you don't have that closeness. So the part of being in our true selves is accepting where we are. It's also about accepting where someone else is. It's also about allowing ourselves to say, I can't give right now, but I can be there. I don't have the capacity to give, but I can be there. If that feels good for you. This is where we're taking a turn in our relationships. This is where we're learning and we're building that community. It's not a give and a take anymore. It's not so black or white. It's not tit for tat. We can both be in our own states, and this is really important for what people are going through right now with all this hard stuff that's going in, around. Because if we think about it, say if I'm going through my own stuff and I have a friend that's going through her own stuff and we don't feel to connect to anybody else, we can still give what we need to each other simply by being there, but by honoring and respecting where they are and where you are. Not saying, you know what, she needs me, I'm going to put myself on hold to help her. Unless you're guided to do that. Unless your heart says yes, then do so. But if your heart is saying, hey, look at you too, feel where you are, be where you are, feel the emotions. It's okay to be where you are. And you're both in that time, and that spot, in that same time. We grow so much quicker in this because we're building community. And even though it seems like we're not helping each other on some, physical level, if we're not giving information back and forth or something, and we're just being there, what happens is an energetic exchange, which is just as powerful as words. Just as powerful as words. So the reason why I'm talking about this is because right now, we need this community. For the people who are going through things, and then say I'm going through something, and I know right now, most of my friends are going through some really hard stuff. The first thing in my past, what I would do is say, well, I can't call them because they're going through their own things. Why do I have unless my heart said not to, that's different. But if my heart feels like, yeah, reach out. Why do I have their own decision to make? Their decision to make is whether or not they can assist us or be there for us. It's not for me to make that decision for them. So for me, not reaching out to someone else because I'm assuming they can't assist me because they're going through their own things is making a judgment and choosing for that other person instead of giving them the chance and them the space to decide for themselves whether or not they want to assist in any way or to just be there and hold space. This is important because a lot of us, and this is what we need to learn for ourselves in order to teach other people too, because a lot of us, and this is a head thing where we convince ourselves that this person can't assist us or we can't reach out to this person because they're going through their own stuff and your stuff seems so heavy that you don't want to put that on them. So then we make the decisions for them. That's not fair on you. That's not fair on the other person. I'm being rough with this right now. I'm feeling to really stress this. However, a lot of us didn't realize this. And this is why we're learning. This is why we're growing. And we may not be perfect at it. We're not going to be perfect at it. We're going to realize, oh, wait, I guess I didn't reach out when I should have, when I felt to. So, and I'm seeing all of your comments, guys. I'm definitely going to get to them. I'm absolutely loving them. And yes, Dami, yeah, I feel like I want / give help even more. Yeah, this is important. The reason why this is important again is because again, people are not opening up to other people. Just came through. If we show this, that, hey, I'm vulnerable right now, but I'm still here for you, it'll give them the okay to open up. It'll give them the okay to open up. So we want to not only do, we want to act and walk and take those steps, walk the walk or walk the talk, so we can show them by example. But we can also tell them that, hey, I'm going through my own stuff too, but you are not a burden. So reach out when you feel to reach out to me. Why? Because I know what I can handle and what I can take on. And if I feel that I can be there for you, trust me when I say this. This is telling them, okay, I trust you and I'll reach out. Instead, what most of us have done and maybe still are doing, depends on who the person is, instead of say, if I'm going through something or if someone else is going through something, they won't reach out because they don't want to put a burden on someone else because that person is going through their own stuff. So when we learn and we show that we can be vulnerable and still be there for other people, we can be in pain and still be there for other people, it's going to give people even more space to open up and realize, hey, I can reach out. Right now, what we're going through, we need people. We need other people. We need that assistance. So if you're not reaching out right now to people because whatever reason, especially the reason that I just talked about, reach out. Give them a chance to choose for themselves. And Melissa said, yes, I think sometimes I make the decision internally instead of giving the other person the opportunity to help, because then I don't have to be vulnerable. Guys, yes, Melissa, 100%. We're humans. We're meant to be vulnerable. We're meant to feel this. Doesn't feel good all the time. It doesn't feel good all the time, but this is part of life. This is part of growing. And when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, to be in pain with someone else, not dumping your stuff on them, but really going through it, really sitting and feeling through, and I talked about this in the last training, and allowing, what it is that we're going through, that's when the magic happens. And if we can do this with each other, think about how healing that is. It doesn't have to be a tit, this person goes and this person goes. It can happen at the same time. But we have to respect the other person and where they're at, and if they can help us or if they don't have that capacity. The other person has to state if they have that capacity. So it's responsibility on both sides. So I have to tell somebody, I do not have the capacity right now to assist you with this, but hey, this is what my heart is saying I can do. Or I do not have the capacity to help in this moment, but can I call you back when I feel that I'm ready? That's something you can do too. You don't have to force yourself to help somebody. The forcing is what's causing us to not even look into our own stuff. It's causing us to build up walls. It's causing us to repeat the same cycles that we've been repeating over and over. Now let's talk on a collective consciousness. In a collective consciousness, we are hitting a brick wall, or the brick wall is hitting us. Even if we're standing still, that brick wall is hitting us in the face for a lot of people. Whether it's something that you can physically state, hey, this is happening to me and it sounds horrible, or stuff that you can't physically state, but you feel it inside of you, even if you don't know what it is or you don't know what it is. It is hitting us like a brick wall for a lot of people. For a lot of people. A lot of people have been, being hit, but they're going through it. They're feeling their emotions. They're going through it. They're allowing themselves to be who they are and where they are. So it's really important. Okay, I'll get back to the brick wall. I do want to get this for a second. First, Dami said it creates respect as well. It does. It creates respect, and it gives us a chance to say, yes, I can help you. No, I can't help you. And it gives the other person the ability to trust what we're saying. So Sheena says, so what happens when you show your vulnerability and you feel as though others dismiss it as nothing? How do you show vulnerability again? That's an awesome question, Sheena. It depends why you're showing your vulnerability. So if you're showing your vulnerability to someone else and they dismiss it, but what you're actually doing is asking for help with them and they dismiss it, know that they're not ready. Know that maybe you're just a seed. You're just a seed being planted, showing them that it's okay to be vulnerable. Does it mean you stop opening up to them and you have to put a hard shell on? No. So if it's someone that you're really close to, say it's your significant other, say James, for example, there's so many times where, and especially the masculine energy tends to not know what to do, so they try to fix things. Or they just close up because they're like, oh, too much emotions. I showed him over and over again. I showed him and he didn't know what to do, and he dismissed it so many times. So what I would say in that moment, if it is a significant other, if it's someone that you, and whatever, if it feels in your heart to express this. But what I would say each time is, no, this is how I'm feeling. I'm not dismissing it. This is where I'm at. I'm not dismissing this. So, for example, whenever earlier today, I told James my mom was in the hospital, and he said, "Oh, well, there's other tests. She may not, she may not have had a stroke." The first thing that came into my head, yeah, but these are her symptoms. And then I explained to him, I was like, I'm not being negative in this way. You're saying something positive. I'm saying something that's going the other way. But really, it's not to go either way. I was like, really, how I'm feeling right now in this moment is I just am. I am where I am. In that moment, I wasn't feeling emotions. I wasn't thinking toward the possible future. I wasn't thinking towards the past. And in that moment, I told him, I am where I am. I don't have to put a happy face on this in this moment. I don't have to say it's going to be okay. But I also don't have to look into all the possible negative things that can happen. So I told them this, and I said, and he was like, okay, so you're just staying, you're not thinking about the past, you're not thinking about the future, you're thinking of just where it is. I was like, yes. So in those moments, if it's somebody that you can confide in, you feel comfortable with, if they dismiss it, that's when you stand your ground. If they don't want to hear it, we don't force them to. This is where you really have to be in your heart and trust your heart. But every chance, like especially with if it's James, someone, he's my partner, it's stating, I don't have to make this pretty. This is where I'm at. This is what I feel, and that's how it is in this moment, and that's okay. It's like, I'm fine being here. And he understood. So it has taken him a while on the emotional side. So this is for people who aren't emotional, or they tend to be, let's fix this, or they don't necessarily know how to open up. I'm showing them it's okay. That's not the end of the world. At the same time, I'm feeling to go into this. At the same time, if I'm showing James, so if I'm in a conversation with him and I'm saying, this is how I feel, one reason that people tend to close up is, number one, they're not ready. Number two is if you're emotional and you hit that downward spiral. And I've talked about this before. The downward spiral of you get sucked into the details, and it's like it doesn't feel good in your heart, but you keep repeating everything that is happening, but it doesn't feel good. It's like you're not expressing, you're just going in this downward spiral. Especially in those times, those people will probably close up because they don't feel it heart-centered. And that's okay. We're not perfect. But what we want to notice when we're going into, we're having these hard times and we start to go into those downward spirals again where it doesn't feel good, stop ourselves. Notice where you are. Notice what you feel. What is your heart saying? Stop yourself. So let's practice for ourselves, and to know that some people can close up if we're not in our hearts. But the more we're in our hearts and we're telling them it's okay for me to be here, it's not a horrible thing, then that's planting the seed. So if it's, okay, someone that, your significant other or somebody that you're close to, well, that may this take a little bit of time, yes. But that's planting the seed, and that's okay. But if it's somebody who, if it's somebody you're not very close to, well, then you have no reason to explain yourself to them. You can just be in that vulnerable state and just be somebody you're not very close to. So if you're, in that vulnerable state and you're with a coworker or something and you're just not feeling it that day, and they state, hey, is everything okay? It's not, but it is what it is at this moment, and honestly, I just need a little bit of time and I'll be good. Or I'll just need a little bit of time. So you're saying, hey, I need my space. But you're not lying. The second thing, though, is if you're a person who's very emotionally inclined, which is a positive thing, it's not necessarily negative. It definitely can be a positive, where it tends to be that that's how you are a lot. Then that's okay. That's okay. It's learning who you are and how to really tune into ourselves and be who we are. That's the part of accepting who we are. So Rose Lily said, we are humans, we're meant to be vulnerable. This was so beautiful. One of the most beautiful sentences I heard lately. Thank you. Kim said, I experienced this spiral / closing up tonight, then brought the awareness to it and let myself process, then danced it out. Kim, can you explain that a little better? I feel what you're saying. Can you explain that a little better? Sam said, so true, Lauren. I was vulnerable when my aunt passed away, and so many people here helped me. Thank you, everyone who was there for me. You are so welcome. And that's perfect. I was saying welcome to Sheena. Yeah, guys, that is perfect to be in that vulnerable state. Here's why, okay? As I'm waiting for Kim's explanation with that, what she means with that. And sorry, Kim, my brain's not able to function right now. With what we're going on a collective consciousness level, with hitting that wall, this is where I wanted to get to. Or the wall, at one time I felt like it was bricks falling on me for something else that happened, and then this. And so it was multiple times where I just felt like I couldn't handle it and I broke down. And I allowed myself to break down. I allowed myself to crumble. We're scared to crumble. We're scared to crumble because we're scared we may not be able to get back up. This is hitting complete vulnerability, and this is what we're going through on the collective consciousness, is hitting the deepest parts that we can handle right now, hitting that vulnerability. Hitting that vulnerability. So how do we hit that vulnerability? Allow ourselves to crumble. Allow yourselves to break down, to feel what's going on. Don't force it. Surrender. If anything comes up, perfect. If it doesn't, that's okay. If you feel numbness, though, numbness is interesting. Numbness, I'm going to talk a little bit about powerlessness. I'm going to talk a little bit about numbness. And again, guys, this is not formatted for today's talk, so I'm sorry for the back and forth. It's where it is. It's where I am. When there's one thing of just being where you are and not necessarily feeling, there's another thing to feel numbness. There's both. And this is the feeling, the not feeling anything, just kind of being where you are. That's what Kim and I were just talking about. So major credits to Kim. And again, she has Karma Holistics and does one-on-one sessions, and she's amazing. There is a difference with that. This is where we really want to dive into our hearts and see. This is where we want to dive into our hearts and see, what am I feeling? Am I feeling numbness? Where something just doesn't feel right? Like it's almost like this cloudy haze? Or am I just being? Am I just being? There's just nothing there to feel in that moment. So just because you're not feeling anything in that moment, you want to check in with your heart. Is this numbness? Or is this just being? And if it is just being, then just be. That's perfect. You don't have to feel anything in that moment. With the numbness, I'm going to say it in this way because I'm getting that it's okay. There's two ways I'm going to explain this. Actually, before I go in that, I'll read what Kim said. The spiraling that you were talking about with the closing up or numbing the emotion. So I let myself sit in the numbness for a minute and became curious for the numbness / closing up process. And it gave me permission to sit there and to do that work. Then I went back inside with my family and let that energy move through dance. Thank you, Kim. Yes, okay, so it wasn't numbness, it was just being. The integration. I absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. Yeah, so with the numbness or the being, you want to ask yourself, is it numbness or is it just being? If it's being, then just be. If it is numbness, if you feel like your heart is saying, yes, it's numbness. Two techniques. One that I did for myself, and this is what I saw numbness as a cloud. And in that cloud, at the bottom layer, I got to go to that bottom layer and feel that bottom layer of this cloud of numbness. So if you're able, and this was inside my body, I went into my body and felt the numbness and dove into the bottom layer of this numbness. When I started feeling that, what I got was the bottom layer is what we don't want to see. The bottom layer is what we don't want to see. We're hiding from ourselves, or we're not feeling, right? The numbness. So when I dove into the bottom layer and I started feeling it like everything broke through, and I really started feeling. So it depends on how you work. I'm only giving 2 techniques right now. So that one is go inside your body, feel the numbness. If you're able to move around, if you're visual, or if you feel and you know, if you're able to work like that, get to the bottom layer of the numbness and feel in that, sit in that. Don't rush it. Allow it to go with the flow. And then eventually it's going to break through, and everything that you're hiding in that numbness is going to come out, and you're going to feel that. And allow yourself to feel that. That's one technique. The second technique, this is what I did for my sister. It was a little bit easier for her. So for people who work with me in the Lightworkers Acceleration, I do a lot of stuff through the heart, a lot of portals through the heart where you can access and go into things. A lot of just seeing like yourself in your heart. I use the heart as means to wherever we're going to go. And so for my sister, one technique is going into your heart. Guys, set up your sacred space, your 3 pillars or 4 pillars, however you do that. For people who are in a Lightwork Acceleration, you can open your Viracocha to get more connected with yourself. So what you do is you imagine yourself in your heart. You go into your heart, whatever you use to get into your heart, and then imagine yourself inside your heart. And whenever you're there, and you don't have to see this, you can feel it, you can know it, you can sense it. Doesn't matter how you work is perfect. And I'm giving this to everybody right now, so you have access to do this. Like when you find, you're going to look inside your heart, when you get a sense that you have this, like, it's almost like a cloud, a white cloud. When you get a sense you're in your heart and you find that white cloud, you can step into that white cloud. So that white cloud is, in a way, your access to that numbness, to really search for the numbness. So once my sister was in that white cloud, I told her to sense, however it happens, to look for a golden star. Golden star. And whenever you get a chance, whenever you sense that, when you're in that white cloud, you grab the golden star, put a hand on your golden star, however you sense it, however you visualize it, or just know it, feel it. That's what's going to wake up and break out what it is that this numbness is holding on to. So this is a second technique. I literally just did it with my sister yesterday. So there's two different techniques with that. You can try either one of them. And because I'm giving this to you, if you do need assistance on it, please reach out to me. I can assist you with this. So whenever you say, either way you do it, either you go into your body and you're always connected to your heart, you go into your body, you feel that lower layer of the numbness. And again, it's like a cloud, or however you imagine it, visualize it, since it doesn't matter. In that lower layer holds what you're hiding from yourself. When you're in there and you feel that lower layer, everything could break out and you could start feeling what it is that you're hiding from yourself, or what you weren't seeing. And then once that happens, then you can actually feel, you want to dive in and feel, what it is that broke out. And what came up and what is coming up on collective consciousness is powerlessness. This is huge. It's huge because that is what we're doing. So I mentioned how right now what we're going through is breaking down into crumbles. Is getting hit so hard we don't know what to do. And when we finally allow ourselves to just break, what do we feel? We feel powerless. This is something that is not, it's real because we created it, but it's not true. It's not a universal truth. Is it true in a sense that maybe you're there and you feel that powerlessness? Yes. But is it something that we don't, once you feel it, once you get in it, once you sit in that powerlessness, allow that powerlessness to overcome you, and then you'll start to feel, as you sit in it, that you're actually not powerless. And that is pure vulnerability, but to the highest state. And that it's just magical. It's beautiful. And the powerlessness didn't go away for a little bit. It stayed with me. But at that time, because I sat in it for so long, and felt it as is, I felt this magic and this beauty of it come around. So as you're crumbling, as each of you are getting hit by tornadoes or brick walls or feeling like houses are falling on you right now, allow yourself to crumble. Allow yourself to crumble. Remember, set up your Viracocha, if you do that, or your 3 pillars, 4 pillars. Get in a sacred space. Have somebody there if you choose. If you need that comfort, call in your guides and allow yourself to crumble, because this is how we crumble and we get to that straight vulnerability state, and then we're able to come out of it. It's like the phoenix. When we hit ground and we crumble and we hit that extreme powerlessness, it's magic, because we're allowing ourselves to release the idea of being powerless. Of being powerless. And on a collective consciousness, that is what we're going through right now. Well, I just hit a stopping point. Everything is telling me to stop right now. So remember, guys, just want to say a couple more things as a recap. Kim said, girl, I spoke with the Phoenix today too. Tommy said, love it. Thank you, Lauren. Y'all are so very welcome. A recap is vulnerability with other people is perfect. To let go, and first, had what you had asked earlier, if they close off on you. Practice still being yourself. If they're not accepting it, you can still sit in that. Don't close off, don't wall up because they're not accepting it. And that takes practice, guys. This stuff, being powerless or feeling of powerlessness, allowing ourselves to crumble, allowing ourselves to be vulnerable in front of people, that takes practice. It takes time. So give yourself space and love with this. So remember, don't just talk the talk. If you're telling other people it's okay to be vulnerable, show them. Don't force it. If it comes, then allow yourself to be in that. Our mistakes as leaders and healers is trying to say everything, I'm good, or not allowing ourselves to be vulnerable with other people, having to be the rock all the time, thinking that if this person is going through something, I'm not allowed to go through something at the same time, but you are. If it is a person, if it's I'm getting stopped. Sorry, guys. I did go on. So all of that, and remember that what we're going through, allow yourself to crumble. Let yourself cry. Let yourself feel. Sit in it. Get to know it. And crumble. Feel the numbness. Go into the numbness. Feel that powerlessness. Allow it to take over you, because then what happens? You realize that it actually can't. I love you guys. Have an amazing night. Thank you so much for coming, and I will see you in divine timing. Again, the techniques, if you have any question with that, feel free to reach out. If I gave them to you, I'm here to assist you with them. Okay? Bye, guys.